Welcome back to Footnotes and Folly, and to Henry VI, Part 3. I am Pemberton. This is Part 3, and the war pauses for a season of plots and a famous wooing. The deposed King Henry, who has crept back into his own realm in disguise, is found wandering in a northern forest by two humble keepers, who take him prisoner for the new king's bounty. At the palace, King Edward, that careless lover of women, woos the beautiful widow Lady Grey and, refused her as a mistress, takes her instead as his queen, a rash match that will cost him dear. And here, left alone upon the stage, his youngest brother, the crook-backed Richard of Gloucester, opens his whole black heart to us in one of the most chilling speeches Shakespeare ever wrote. Barred from love by his deformity, he will make the crown his mistress, and hew his way to it through every man that stands between. Meanwhile, across the sea, at the court of King Louis of France, Queen Margaret kneels to beg an army for her cause. The Earl of Warwick comes as Edward's ambassador to sue for the hand of the Lady Bona, and then the news of Edward's secret marriage to Lady Grey arrives like a thunderclap. Shamed and enraged before all of France, the mighty king tears off his allegiance and joins himself to Margaret and Lancaster. Let us go on.
Two keepers enter with crossbows in their hands. We will hide ourselves under this grown thicket, because the deer will soon come through this open ground. From this cover we will take our stand and choose the finest deer of the whole herd. I will stay above the hill, so that both of us can shoot. That will not work. The sound of your crossbow will frighten the herd, and then my shot will be wasted. Let us both stand here and aim at the best one. And so the time does not feel tedious, I will tell you what happened to me one day in this very place where we now mean to stand. Here comes a man. Let us wait until he has passed. King Henry enters, disguised, carrying a prayer book. I have slipped away from Scotland, out of pure love, so I could greet my own country with my longing eyes. No, Harry, this is no land of yours. Your place is filled, your scepter has been torn from you, and the holy oil that anointed you has been washed away. No bended knee will call you Caesar now. No humble petitioners crowd near to ask you for justice. No, not one man comes to you for relief, because how can I help them when I cannot help myself? Yes, here is a deer whose hide will be a keeper's fee. This is the former king. Let us seize him. Let me embrace you, bitter adversity, because wise men say that is the wisest course. My queen and son have gone to France for aid. And as I hear it, the great and commanding Warwick has gone there too, to ask the French king's sister to become Edward's wife. If that news is true, then poor queen and son, all your labor is lost, because Warwick is a cunning speaker, and Louis is a prince easily won by moving words. By that reckoning, though, Margaret may win him, for she is a woman who deserves great pity. Her sighs will lay siege inside his breast, and her tears will pierce even a marble heart. A tiger would grow gentle while she mourned, and Nero himself would be touched with remorse to hear and see her complaints and her salty tears. Yes, but she has come to beg, while Warwick has come to offer. She stands on his left side, asking help for Henry. He stands on his right, asking for a wife for Edward. She weeps and says her Henry has been deposed. He smiles and says his Edward has been installed. She, poor wretch, is so overcome by grief that she can say no more, while Warwick explains his title, makes the wrong seem smooth, brings forward arguments of great strength, and in the end wins the king away from her with the promise of his sister, and whatever else may strengthen and support King Edward's position. Oh, Margaret, that is how it will be, and you, poor soul, will be abandoned then, just as you went there in misery. Tell us, what are you, that you speak of kings and queens? More than I seem, and less than I was born to be. At least I am a man, for I should be nothing less than that, and men may talk about kings, so why not I? Yes, but you talk as if you were a king. Why, so I am in my mind, and that is enough. But if you are a king, where is your crown? My crown is in my heart, not on my head. It is not decorated with diamonds and Indian stones, and it cannot be seen. My crown is called contentment. It is a crown that kings seldom enjoy. Well, if you are a king crowned with contentment, then your crown, your contentment, and you yourself must be content to go along with us. For as we think, you are the king whom King Edward has deposed, and we as his subjects sworn to him in all allegiance, will arrest you as his enemy. But have you never sworn an oath and then broken it? No, never such an oath as this, and we will not break it now. Where did you live when I was king of England? Here in this country, where we still live now. I was anointed king when I was 9 months old. My father and my grandfather were kings, and you were sworn as true subjects to me. Tell me then, have you not broken your oaths? No, because we were your subjects only while you were king. Why, am I dead? Do I not still breathe as a man? Ah, simple men, you do not understand what you swear. Look, as I blow this feather away from my face, and as the air blows it back to me again, obeying my breath when I blow, and yielding to another wind when it blows, always commanded by the stronger gust, so is the fickleness of you common men. But do not break your oaths. I will not, by my gentle pleading, make you guilty of that sin. Go where you will. The king shall be commanded. You be kings, command, and I will obey. We are true subjects to the king, King Edward. So you would be again to Henry, if you were seated as King Edward is. We charge you, in God's name and the king's, to go with us to the officers. In God's name, lead on. Your king's name shall be obeyed, and what God wills, let your king perform, and what he wills I humbly submit to. They exit. King Edward enters the palace with Richard, Duke of Gloucester, George, Duke of Clarence, and Lady Grey. Brother of Gloucester, at the Battle of St. Albans this lady's husband, Sir John Grey, was killed, and afterward the victors seized his lands. She now petitions to have those lands restored. In justice we cannot rightly refuse her, because the worthy gentleman lost his life fighting for the House of York. Your Highness would do well to grant her request. It would be dishonourable to deny it to her. It would indeed. Still, I will pause over it a little. Aside to George. Ah, is that how it is? I see the lady has something to grant before the king will grant her humble petition. Aside to Richard. He knows the game. See how cleverly he keeps to the right side of the wind. Aside to George. Quiet. Widow, we will consider your petition, and you may come at another time to learn our decision. Most gracious lord, I cannot endure delay. May it please your Highness to answer me now. Whatever your pleasure is will satisfy me. Aside to George. Will it, widow? Then I will guarantee you all your lands, if what pleases him will give you pleasure. Fight closer, or by good faith you will take a hit. Aside to Richard. I do not fear her, unless she happens to fall. Aside to George. God forbid that, for then he will take advantage. How many children do you have, widow? Tell me. Aside to Richard. I think he means to beg a child from her. Aside to George. No, beat me if that is true. He is more likely to give her 2. 3, my most gracious lord. Aside to George. You shall have 4, if you let him guide you. It would be a pity if they lost their father's lands. Then be merciful, dread lord, and grant them. My lords, leave us. I will test this widow's wit. Aside to George. Yes, gladly leave him, for you will have leisure until youth leaves you and leaves you leaning on a crutch. Richard and George stand aside. Now tell me, madam, do you love your children? Yes, as dearly as I love myself. And would you not do a great deal to do them good? To do them good, I would endure some harm. Then get your husband's lands to do them good. That is why I came to your majesty. I will tell you how those lands are to be gained. Then you will bind me to your Highness's service. What service will you do me if I give them? Whatever you command, that lies within my power to do. But you will object to the favor I ask. No, gracious lord, unless it is something I cannot do. Yes, but you can do what I mean to ask. Then I will do what your grace commands. Aside to George. He presses her hard, and steady rain wears down marble. Aside to Richard. As red as fire. Well then, her wax must melt. Why does my lord stop? Shall I not hear my task? An easy task, only to love a king. That is easily done, since I am your subject. Then I freely give you your husband's lands. I take my leave with many thousand thanks. Aside to George. The match is made, she seals it with a curtsy. But stay. I mean the fruits of love. The fruits of love are what I mean too, my loving liege. Yes, but I fear we mean it in different senses. What love do you think I am trying so hard to get? My love until death, my humble thanks, my prayers, the love that virtue asks for and virtue grants. No, by my faith, I did not mean that kind of love. Then you do not mean what I thought you did. But now you may partly understand my mind. My mind will never grant what I understand your Highness to be aiming at, if I understand rightly. To speak plainly, I aim to lie with you. To speak plainly, I would rather lie in prison. Then you shall not have your husband's lands. Then my honesty shall be my inheritance, for I will not buy the lands by losing it. In that, you do your children a great wrong. In this your Highness wrongs both them and me. But, mighty lord, this playful mood does not suit the sorrow of my petition. Please dismiss me with either yes or no. Yes, if you will say yes to my request. No, if you say no to my demand. Then no, my lord. My petition is ended. Aside to George. The widow does not like him, she is frowning. Aside to Richard. He is the bluntest wooer in Christendom. Aside. Her looks show she is full of modesty. Her words show unmatched intelligence. All her perfections claim a crown. One way or another, she is fit for a king, and she shall be either my lover or my queen. Say that King Edward takes you for his queen. That is easier said than done, my gracious lord. I am a subject fit to be joked with, but very unfit to be a sovereign. Sweet widow, by my royal state I swear to you, I speak nothing except what my soul intends, and that is to enjoy you as my love. And that is more than I will yield. I know I am too lowly to be your queen, and yet too good to be your concubine. You argue, widow, I did mean my queen. It will grieve your grace for my sons to call you father. No more than when my daughters call you mother. You are a widow, and you have some children, and by God's mother I, though only a bachelor, have some others. Why, it is a happy thing to be father to many sons. Answer no more, for you shall be my queen. Aside to George. The spiritual father has now heard her confession. Aside to Richard. When he was made a confessor, it was for a shift of purpose. Brothers, you are wondering what talk we two have had. Richard and George come forward. The widow does not like it, for she looks very sad. You would think it strange if I married her. To whom, my lord? Why, Clarence, to myself. That would be a wonder for at least 10 days. That is a day longer than a wonder usually lasts. Then the wonder is extreme by that much. Well, keep jesting, brothers. I can tell you both that her petition for her husband's lands is granted. A nobleman enters. My gracious Lord Henry, your enemy has been captured and brought as your prisoner to your palace gate. See that he is taken to the tower. And let us go, brothers, to the man who took him, to question him about the capture. Widow, come with us. Lords, treat her honorably. All leave except Richard. Yes, Edward will treat women honorably. I wish he were wasted away, marrow, bones, and all, so that no hopeful branch may spring from his body to block me from the golden age I look for. And yet, between my soul's desire and me, even if lustful Edward's title were buried, stand Clarence, Henry, and his son young Edward, and all the unexpected children their bodies may produce, to take their places before I can place myself. A cold plan for my purpose! Then I do no more than dream of sovereignty, like someone who stands on a high point and sees afar off shore where he longs to walk, wishing his foot could go as far as his eye, and cursing the sea that separates him from it, saying he will drain it dry to make his way. So I wish for the crown, though it is so far off, so I curse the means that keep me from it, so I say I will cut off the causes, flattering myself with impossibilities. My eye is too quick, my heart expects too much, unless my hand and strength can match them. Well, suppose there is no kingdom for Richard. What other pleasure can the world offer? I will make my heaven in a lady's lap, dress my body in bright ornaments, and charm sweet ladies with my words and looks. O miserable thought, and more unlikely than winning 20 golden crowns! Why, love rejected me in my mother's womb, and so that I would not deal in her soft laws, she bribed frail nature to shrink up my arm like a withered branch, to set an envious mountain on my back, where deformity sits to mock my body, to shape my legs in unequal size, to make every part of me out of proportion, like chaos, or an unlicked bear cub that carries no likeness of its mother. And am I then a man to be loved? O monstrous error, to entertain such a thought! Then, since this earth gives me no joy except to command, restrain, and overpower those of better shape than myself, I will make my heaven out of dreaming of the crown, and while I live I will count this world as hell until my misshapen trunk that carries this head is encircled with a glorious crown. And yet I do not know how to get the crown, for many lives stand between me and home. I am like someone lost in a thorny wood, tearing the thorns and being torn by them, seeking a path and straying from the path, not knowing how to find the open air, but struggling desperately to find it. So I torment myself to seize the English crown. And from that torment I will free myself, or carve my way out with a bloody axe. Why, I can smile and murder while I smile, I can cry content. At what grieves my heart, I can wet my cheeks with false tears and shape my face to every occasion. I will drown more sailors than the mermaid, I will kill more onlookers than the basilisk. I will speak as well as Nestor, deceive more slyly than Ulysses could, and like Sinon capture another Troy. I can add colors to the chameleon, change shapes with Proteus for advantage, and send the murderous Machiavel to school. Can I do all this and not get a crown? Nonsense. If it were farther away I would pull it down. Richard exits. Trumpets sound. Louis, the French king, enters with his sister Lady Bona, his Admiral Bourbon, Prince Edward, Queen Margaret, and the Earl of Oxford. Louis sits, then rises again. Fair Queen of England, worthy Margaret, sit with us. It does not suit your rank or your birth for you to stand while Louis sits. No, mighty King of France. Margaret must now lower her sail and learn for a while to serve her king's command. Confess, in former golden days I was Queen of great Albion. But now misfortune has trampled down my title and laid me dishonored on the ground. I must take a seat that matches my fortune, and shape myself to my humbled place. Then tell me, fair Queen, where does this deep despair come from? From a cause that fills my eyes with tears and stops my tongue, while my heart is drowned in cares. Whatever it is, still be yourself and sit beside us. He seats her beside him. Do not bend your neck under fortune's yoke. Let your fearless mind still ride in triumph over every misfortune. Plainly, Queen Margaret, and tell me your grief. It shall be eased if France can give relief. Those gracious words revive my sinking thoughts and give my tongue, tired sorrows, permission to speak. Then let noble Louis know this. Henry, the only possessor of my love, has gone from being a king to being a banished man, forced to live in Scotland, abandoned and forlorn. Proud, ambitious Edward, Duke of York, has usurped the royal title and the throne of England's true, anointed, lawful king. That is why I, poor Margaret, with my son, Prince Edward, Henry's heir, have come to ask for your just and lawful aid. If you fail us, all our hope is finished. Scotland is willing to help, but cannot help. Our people and our peers have both been misled, our treasure seized, our soldiers put to flight, and as you see, we ourselves are in a miserable state. Renowned Queen, calmly endure this storm while I consider how to break it. The longer we delay, the stronger our enemy grows. The longer I delay, the more help I will give you. Oh, but impatience attends true sorrow. And look, here comes the cause of my sorrow. Warwick enters. Who is this coming so boldly into our presence? Our Earl of Warwick, Edward's greatest friend. Welcome, brave Warwick. What brings you to France? He comes down. Queen Margaret rises. Yes, now a second storm begins to rise, for this is the man who moves both wind and tide. From worthy Edward, King of Albion, my lord and sovereign, and your sworn friend, I come in kindness and sincere love, first, to give greetings to your royal person, then to ask for a treaty of friendship, and lastly, if you consent, to confirm that friendship with the bond of marriage, by granting the virtuous Lady Bona, your fair sister, in lawful marriage to England's king. If that goes forward, Henry's hope is finished. Gracious madam, on behalf of our king, I am commanded, with your permission and favor, humbly to kiss your hand, and with my tongue to speak of the passion in my sovereign's heart. Your fame has lately entered his attentive ears and planted there the image of your beauty and your virtue. King Louis and Lady Bona, hear me speak before you answer Warwick. His request does not come from Edward's honest, well-meant love, but from deceit born of necessity. How can tyrants rule safely at home unless they buy powerful alliances abroad? This reason is enough to prove him a tyrant. Henry still lives. But even if Henry were dead, Prince Edward stands here, King Henry's son. Therefore take care, Louis, that by this alliance and marriage you do not bring danger and dishonor on yourself. Though usurpers may rule for a while, heaven is just, and time puts wrongs down. Insulting Margaret. And why not queen? Because your father Henry was a usurper, and you are no more a prince than she is a queen. Then Warwick denies the right of great John of Gaunt, who subdued the greatest part of Spain, and after John of Gaunt, Henry IV, whose wisdom was a model for the wisest, and after that wise prince, Henry V, who by his courage conquered all France. From these men our Henry descends in a direct line. Oxford, why did you not mention in this smooth speech how Henry VI has lost everything Henry V had won? I think these French lords should smile at that. As for the rest, you tell a pedigree of 62 years, a poor little span of time to establish a claim to a kingdom's worth. Why, Warwick, can you speak against your lawful king, whom you obeyed for 36 years, and not reveal your treason with a blush? Can Oxford, who always defended the right, now shield falsehood with a pedigree? For shame! Leave Henry, and call Edward king. Call him my king, when by his unjust sentence my elder brother, the Lord Aubrevere, was put to death. And more than that, my father too, even in the decline of his ripened years, when nature had already brought him to death's door. No, Warwick, no. As long as life upholds this arm upholds the house of Lancaster. And I uphold the house of York. Queen Margaret, Prince Edward, and Oxford, please, at my request, stand aside while I speak further with Warwick. They stand apart. Heaven grant that Warwick's words do not enchant him. Now, Warwick, tell me honestly, on your conscience, is Edward your true king? I would be unwilling to join myself to a man who was not lawfully chosen. On that I pledge my credit and my honor. But is he favored in the eyes of the people? All the more because Henry was unfortunate. Then further, setting all disguise aside, tell me truthfully the measure of his love for our sister Bona. It seems such a love as may suit a monarch like himself. I have often heard him say and swear that this love of his was an eternal plant, whose root was fixed in the ground of virtue, whose leaves and fruit were sustained by the sun of beauty, free from envy but not from disdain, unless Lady Bona ends his pain. Now, sister, let us hear your firm decision. Your granting or denying shall be mine. Yet I confess that often before today, when I have heard your king's merits described, my ear has tempted my judgment toward desire. Then, Warwick, this is our answer. Our sister shall be Edward's. Articles shall now be drawn at once concerning the marriage settlement your king must make, which shall be balanced against her dowry. Come near, Queen Margaret, and witness that Bona shall be wife to the English king. To Edward, but not to the English king. Deceitful Warwick, this alliance was your scheme to destroy my petition. Before you came, Louis was Henry's friend, and still is friend to him and Margaret. But if your title to the crown is weak, as Edward's success may make it appear, that it is only reasonable that I be released from giving the aid I lately promised. Still, you shall have every kindness from me that your condition requires, and that I can provide. Henry now lives in Scotland at his ease, where, having nothing, he can lose nothing. And as for you yourself, our former queen, you have a father able to support you. It would be better for you to trouble him than France. Be silent, impudent, and shameless Warwick, proud maker and breaker of kings. I will not leave until, with my words and tears, both full of truth, I make King Louis see your sly maneuvering and your lord's false love. You and he are birds of the same feather. A post horn sounds within. Warwick, this is some messenger for us or for you. The post enters. My lord ambassador, these letters are for you, sent from your brother Marquis Montague. These are from our king to your majesty. And madam, these are for you, though I do not know from whom. They all read their letters. I like it well that our fair queen and mistress smiles at her news while Warwick frowns at his. No, look how Louis stamps, as if he had been stung. I hope it is all for the best. Warwick, what is your news? And yours, fair queen? Mine is such news as fills my heart with joys I had not hoped for. Mine is full of sorrow and deep discontent. What? Has your king married the Lady Grey, and now, to smooth over both your deception and his, sends me a letter telling me to be patient? Is this the alliance he wants with France? Does he dare presume to insult us like this? I told your majesty as much before. This proves Edward's love and Warwick's honesty. King Louis, I swear here in the sight of heaven, and by the hope I have of heavenly happiness, that I am innocent of this wrongdoing by Edward. He is no longer my king, for he dishonors me, and dishonors himself most of all, if he could only see his shame. Did I forget that my father came to an early death because of the house of York? Did I overlook the insult done to my niece? Did I set the royal crown upon Edward's head? Did I remove Henry from his birthright? And am I rewarded in the end with disgrace? Shame fall on Edward himself, for what I deserved was honor. To repair the honor I lost for his sake, I renounce him here and return to Henry. My noble queen, let old grudges pass. From now on I am your true servant. I will avenge his wrong to Lady Bona, and restore Henry to his former position. Warwick, these words have turned my hatred into love. I forgive old faults, and completely forget them, and I rejoice that you have become King Henry's friend. So much his friend, yes, his sincere friend, that if King Louis will be pleased to supply us with a few companies of chosen soldiers, I will undertake to land them on our coast and drive the tyrant from his throne by war. His new-made bride will not help him. And as for Clarence, as my letters tell me, he is very likely now to fall away from Edward, because Edward married more for reckless desire than for honor, or for the strength and safety of our country. Dear brother, how can Bona be avenged except by your helping this distressed queen? Renowned prince, how can poor Henry live unless you rescue him from desperate misery? My grievance and this English queen's grievance are one. And mine, fair Lady Bona, joins with yours. And mine joins with hers and yours and Margaret's. Therefore at last I am firmly resolved, you shall have aid. Let me give humble thanks for everything at once. Then messenger from England, return quickly and tell false Edward, your supposed king, that Louis of France is sending over revellers to celebrate with him and his new bride. You have seen what has happened here. Go and frighten your king with it. Tell him that, in the hope he will soon prove to be a widower, I will wear the willow garland for his sake. Tell him I have laid my mourning clothes aside, and I am ready to put armor on. Tell him from me that he has wronged me, and therefore I will take the crown from him before long. There is your reward. Begone. The post exits. But Warwick, you in Oxford, with 5,000 men, shall cross the seas and challenge false Edward to battle. Then, as the opportunity allows, this noble queen and the prince shall follow with fresh support. Yet before you go, answer me one question. What pledge do we have of your firm loyalty? This shall assure you of my constant loyalty. If our queen and this young prince agree, I will immediately join my eldest daughter, my joy, to him in the holy bonds of marriage. Yes, I agree, and I thank you for your proposal. Son Edward, she is beautiful and virtuous. Therefore do not delay. Give your hand to Warwick, and with your hand give your unbreakable promise that only Warwick's daughter shall be yours. Yes, I accept her, for she well deserves it. And here, as a pledge of my vow, I give my hand. He gives his hand to Warwick. Why do we wait now? These soldiers shall be raised, and you, Lord Bourbon, our High Admiral, shall carry them across with our royal fleet. I long for Edward to fall through the misfortune of war, because he mocked marriage with a lady of France. All exit except Warwick. I came from Edward as his ambassador, but I return as his sworn and deadly enemy. Marriage was the business he entrusted to me, but terrible war shall answer his request. Had he no one else to make a laughing stock of but me? Then no one, but I shall turn his joke into sorrow. I was the chief man who raised him to the crown, and I will be chief in bringing him down again, not because I pity Henry's misery, but because I seek revenge for Edward's mockery. Warwick exits.
And there we pause, with the wheel of fortune set spinning the other way. Edward sits secure on his stolen throne, married for love and heedless of the storm he has raised, but he has insulted the one man in England who can unmake a king as easily as he made one. Warwick the kingmaker is now Lancaster's man, betrothed to Margaret's cause and to Edward's destruction, and we have looked, at last, into the bottomless ambition of crook-backed Richard, who means to climb over all of them to the crown. Next time, in Part 4 Brothers Fall Out, a king is taken in his own camp and rescued again, a prisoner is freed from the tower, and the crown changes heads twice over. Mind the footnotes, and beware the folly.